Hello everyone. Please have your attention.
Exactly. Like rich people aren't
Right now we're having a protest to make institutional long-term changes to school policy here at St. Olaf College with the hope that these changes will better reduce institutional racism.
Yeah. The event is pretty much about just making sure that students of color here at St. Olaf have equal rights both socially and in classrooms and the sort of campus resources that we have available to us.
And I'm here to try to get St. Olaf to listen to people of color and really just raise awareness for the fact that people don't feel safe and try to get people, I guess, to more just pay attention to the demands of the student body and what should be happening compared to what hasn't been happening.
A lot of the people of color here feel unsafe, and so they have protested to not go to classes to make their voices heard so that we can have change.
Well, there certainly have been a large stream of hate crimes happening around campus, and people are sick and tired of it. So currently we're taking the fight to the administration, who has been more than a little too complacent about the whole thing.
So the hate crimes that I'm aware of up to this point against people of color have been leaving the N-word just around school, and then getting slightly worse, actually targeting people and putting it on the hood of their cars so that they see it, and then getting even much worse, going into people's dorms and tearing up the names in front of their doors and kind of leaving it there.
Okay.
And finally, there may have been some death threats. I don't know very much about that.
For people who aren't on campus, could you explain what brought this about, like the crimes that have been committed?
So, I mean, there's always been kind of, as a sort of predominantly Caucasian campus, there's always been sort of a little bit of a sort of undercurrent of for terms of PR, let's call it racial misunderstanding.
Okay.
Both at a sort of like administrative level and a sort of allocation of resources towards students of color and international students, and then from students to other students as well. Recently, these have kind of been escalated as specifically black students have been targeted with notes that usually said hateful comments and then an N-word, or just the N-word on their cars or in their dorms or on their private property, but they're specifically targeted. And so it kind of brought the sort of underlying, it sort of brought it to attention that the community as a whole, and as well as the persons of color community here on campus, will not stand for this any longer. This has been going on for too long.
Yes, there's been numerous hate crimes committed on campus, and emails have been sent out, but the emails never really described what was happening.
Yeah, they were very broad.
They were very vague, really. It was like, oh, some anonymous note was found with the N-word and then vile commentary. So that was offensive in itself. Like, you can't even tell me what's going on, or at least tell me why you can't disclose that information. So yeah, that was an issue there that I found hard, especially with the template emails. It's like they were the same things pasted over and over again. Those were really, really irritating. And to students that I talked to afterwards, they were like, well, it's the same email, why should I have to read it again? It just has a new heading. So I was like, okay, well, if the administration really wanted to do something about this, then they would do more than an email, because most students on campus don't even read their email anyway.
That's very true.
I know I don't read all of them. I skim most of them.
Me too.
I'm not gonna exclude myself from that group. I'm part of that. So then this weekend, when there was an actual threat pointed out to a student saying that if she doesn't shut up, she will be shut up. That was hurtful.
That was very scary.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Not on me. So it's like, what are we supposed to do? We've been talking. There's been dialogue for, what, a week now?
About that.
About a week since last Monday, and it's Monday now for a week. There's been dialogue, discussions, sit-ins, so much happening. And then for this threat to happen, like the fact that it was targeted towards someone, and then actually like there was a threat involved, that was just more scary and offensive than anything. It's like through all of our efforts, calm efforts I should say, nothing's really working. So it's like, what are you supposed to do now?
Yeah, well, I wanted to say, I mean, I know that I'm a white student, I'm also a woman, so there is that, you know, sexist area that has been put towards me, but I also know my privilege, and I know that I can walk safer at night than other people on this campus. And I just mostly want to spread the message that I want to stand with you guys, and I love you and support you. And the best way I feel that we can get through this together is really what we're doing now, is standing together, refusing to back down, but not acting on violence.
Right.
We are going to be a strong force, a united force, but we are not going to act on any violence, because I don't think that's the best way to solve it.
Was it sustained? Was it 100% productive? 100% no. But it was something, and we're getting places. So if you do feel like saying something, also don't feel like, oh my gosh, people are going to think I'm racist, or I don't support the movement. A person of color is telling you as well, it's okay, you have as well your own voice, and use it. And I see people shaking their heads and sorry.
As you know, white students, is that our role here is to be the support roles and just let the administration know that by coming together we all think that the things that are happening are terrible and unacceptable, and we need to see change, and that by being here it's much less of administration versus students of color, and it's much more of a administration needs to work with every single student, and that I feel like coming together creates a much safer environment instead of creating an us versus them mentality, which would probably make the administration less likely to listen to the revision board. So I'm glad that lots of people are here, basically taking up the entire building to show their support. I've just seen a lot of like friends and acquaintances that I've spoken to about like coming to events and protests and sit-ins and stuff, and just be like, hey, you should come to these things to show your support. And then sometimes I get told like I'm being too attacking of people, or I'm trying to call people racist. Still have not said that word to anybody yet. That's like one thing I really want to avoid, that I feel like we should all avoid, is like just if somebody doesn't show their support or doesn't get the issue, we shouldn't just scream at them that they're racists, because like that's not going to get people to join the cause whatsoever. That's going to make them more against the cause than they were before. And we don't want to divide, we just need to come together. So like it's taken a lot of my will to not just like shout at people who are just so like plugging their ears and going la 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 so they can avoid the issue, and like I'm pretty sure we all know some people like that.
On this, again, if you have read this, I know that we released them at 7:50, but we thought that was a good 40 minutes for your read analysis. It's only 11 pages and it's pretty basic. But as of right now, college students.
So have I sat down and read them carefully and considered thought to them? No. For lack of opportunity, not for lack of desire.
We demand that administration be held accountable for the institutional racism that is embedded within the structures of this campus. We demand that Olaf College creates a zero tolerance policy. Continue the dialogue. It doesn't stop here. It doesn't start. It doesn't stop at just a signature. It doesn't stop. It's just this gathering. Continue the conversation. And as we keep you updated, continue the conversation. Continue the dialogue.
I am satisfied with the outcome. I am satisfied that he did sign the terms of engagement and that he did work with us. However, I know there's a long way to go until we fully solve the issue.
Yeah, and earlier today he wasn't wanting to sign anything.
Yeah, a lot of us here were surprised by the outcome because it did not seem optimistic around noon. But after working together for hours and keeping the pressure on the president and his team, luckily he did sign it.
Yeah. Were you satisfied with how things ended up?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think so. But again, this is one step.
Right.
Now we have to see if actions are actually going to be put in place. It doesn't matter what signed, what said. I don't believe it until it actually happens, because there's been too many times where somebody said, like, false promises, really.
That's true.
So I'm hopeful, but I'm not going to believe that it's going to change overnight, and that'd be naive of me to believe that after this signature things are going to change. But I'll be here for another 3 years, so we'll see how it works out.
We can talk about racism, we can talk about hate crimes all we want, and they don't go away until we do something about them.
Yeah.
It's like a step-by-step process. Like, first we talk about it, then we think of what we do.
This victory today shows that there's strength in numbers, and if you support these causes, change can happen. We just have to work together. It was one of the most powerful experiences of my life. To have hundreds together with hundreds of people in the name of justice is amazing, and that's something I would never forget.